Le Havre on the French coast. Off the harbour is the buoy the yachts sit around before setting off on the next leg of the triangular channel race course. Going around the Le Havre buoy, Australia's Freya. Now it's Britain's Bordelot and France's Glennon. It's Camille's turn. Around she goes, moving up on France's Vanuatu. Now the yachts are in the homeward stretch back to the Solent. Australia's unofficial entry, Larita Maria, puts her best foot forward and makes a good showing in the company of other yachts. America's Windrose sweeps along and heads for home. Tonnerre de Breskins passes the Nab Tower, situated like a sentinel not far from the Solent finishing line. Caprice comes home strongly, not the first yacht across the line, but the yacht which wins the channel race on corrected time. In this, as in all 4 races in the Admirals Cup, it is not the first to cross the line that gains a win for any given yacht or team. In each instance, a win is assessed from the number of points accumulated by each nation's team of 3 official yacht entries. In this, the first race, Australia gains a first with Caprice, a 4th with Camille, and an 8th with Freya. Freya is seen now as she crosses the finishing line at Horse Sand Fort, an historic arsenal built during the Napoleonic Wars, one of 3 unusual landmarks near the Solent. Camille's skipper and crew return to their headquarters at Cowes to be congratulated by the chairman of Australia's organising committee, Sir James Kirby. Freya's crew disembarks, jubilant over the team's performance. At last, the victors, Caprice's skipper and crew. Caprice's skipper, Gordon Ingate, is greeted joyfully by his wife, who shares his love of the sea and sailing. Gordon and his crew are heaped with all the congratulations they deserve, and the whole Australian contingent is exhilarated over their stunning channel race achievement. A forest of masts sets the evening scene in the trots at Cowes. Boats at anchor await the dawn of the 2nd Cup event. The next 2 events in the Admirals Cup series are inshore races, about 33 miles each within the confines of the Solent. It is light weather for the first of these 2 events, the Britannia Cup. According to the Australian skippers, this will be the most interesting tactical event in the series. The fleet readies to sail. At the sound of the starting gun, Caprice leaps away a length clear of the fleet. Camille comes hard on her heels, with Freya in the middle of the pack. Now Firebrand and Caper fight for position. Shouts from competitors mingle with the sounds of the sea as crews maneuver to avoid collision. Britain's Quiver, leader of the fleet at this stage, moves up to round the buoy at Hampstead Ledge. Quiver's crewmen are alert as they take her around, attentive to prevailing conditions, as they use their skill to maintain their yacht's prominent position. The next yacht to round the buoy is Britain's Noryema 4, closely contested by America's Figaro. fourth position, Caprice, finding it difficult to make her way against the tide. She seems to stand still as every hand strains to beat the strength of a rapid current and take her around the buoy. Now an added touch of excitement for the spectators as the Duke of Edinburgh, skippering Bloodhound, approaches the buoy and brings her around. Australia's Frere and the other competitors master the tide and turn towards home, increasing speed with the thrust of wind in their spinnakers. Closer to home, the billowing spinnakers of the yachts make a spectacular pattern of colour above the sharp prows that cleave through the water. Holland's Swerver, astern of the leaders, shows a classic line of sail. Spinnakers are dropped as the fleet lines up for the run to the finish line. Britain's Quiver comes home well in the Britannia Cup race. Quiver and her teammates Noryema and Firebrand finished 2nd, 3rd and 6th respectively to keep Britain, the cup leader, ahead of Australia on points. Quiver's crew use every piece of sailing knowledge at their command to cross the finish line in the best time. But the Australian crew sailing Caprice proved themselves to be even better, streaking across the line in 3rd position, but winning the race on corrected time. For the delighted Australians on Caprice, it is their 2nd successive cup win. Next morning, the Duke of Edinburgh makes another appearance as skipper of Bloodhound. Spectators crowd the shoreline to see Prince Philip and a brief glimpse of Princess Anne. The 3rd race in the Admirals Cup series, the classic New York Challenge Cup. Before the Royal Yacht Squadron at Cowes, the yachts mass for the start of this 2nd 33-mile race in the Solent. A 15-knot breeze causes jostling at the start of the race, and skippers and crews are hard-pressed to keep their craft out of danger. The wind stirs up the water, and soon the yachts are blown into rough weather. Now it'll be a real test of skill and endurance, and the Australian teams welcome the challenge. Seas are choppy and southwest winds punchy as the fleet speeds down the Solent towards the Lymington Spit buoy. The weather grows worse. The Australian crews are stung by saltwater bullets in the gale and soaked by the constant drizzle, but they persevere, working even harder than before to capture, if it is at all possible, a 3rd successive win for Australia. Sweden's Staika 4 pounds hard into the wind. Now it becomes necessary for the crews of the fleet to take the most extreme measures to counter the pull of the tides and wind against their craft. America's Figaro battles against the wind to round Leaf Buoy, but manages an impressive turn. Ireland's Shelmalian of Anglesey cuts through the choppy sea. Caprice executes an intricate jibing maneuver under spinnaker. The big fleet spreads out. The pace is keen, but the sailing conditions promise perils, the first of which comes now. Watch closely as America's Windrose breaches the port and starboard rule, tacking straight into Italy's Almere. Desperately, the Italian crew tries to avoid an imminent collision, but its rapid change of course forces the yacht onto Britain's drumbeat, striking her a glancing blow. Under sailing rules, Windrose is forced to retire. As the American yacht Caper approaches the finish line, a spectator craft skips through the water as a light-hearted convoy. Caper is first over the line, but is not automatically qualified for first place. To the amazement of the large crowd